Chapter 1. Rebirth. On my wedding day, my fiancée bribed my personal guard, broke my arms and legs, and threw me into a valley to die. All so that Ethan Gordon could take my place and marry the wealthy heiress, Victoria Brooke. I couldn't rest in peace. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day Ethan Gordon's mother was caught stealing. It was time they learned why my father named me Sincere Lancaster, a master divine that I was born with a heavy killing intent. A pack of wild wolves tore open my stomach, devouring my insides. I died in agony and despair. Opening my eyes again, still reeling from the searing pain, I clutched my mouth, retching uncontrollably. Someone rushed to my side immediately, supporting my trembling body, gently patting my back. "Sincere, what's wrong?" "I'll get the doctor." Her voice was full of anxiety, but it sent a chill down my spine. Lifting my head, a familiar face came into view, yet it chilled me to the bone. Sylvia Lancaster, my only female bodyguard, the one who'd cared for me like an older sister since childhood, and the very person who, along with Victoria Brooke, had broken my limbs and cast me into the valley. I grabbed the phone by the bed. The date confirmed it. 1 year earlier, I had been reborn. Sylvia was still calling my name anxiously. I subtly pushed her away and pressed the bedside call bell. A maid entered. "Bring me some water." When the water arrived, I gulped it down. Opening my eyes again, my gaze was glacial, devoid of any emotion. Just then, Reginald Quinn, the butler, arrived to report a theft in the house. By the time I languidly strolled into the front hall, Martha Gordon and Ethan were already kneeling there. Martha kept kowtowing, begging for forgiveness, while Ethan, his face tear-streaked, held his back ramrod straight. His delicate, almost feminine features made him look like a pitiful frost-bitten flower. I sat on the sofa. Glancing beside me, I saw Sylvia's hands clenched into fists, her eyes overflowing with undisguised pity for him. "Brother Lou, it's all my fault," Ethan sobbed. "Mom only stole because I'm sick. Please let her go." The surrounding maids chimed in. "Young master, please forgive them. Martha only did it for Ethan. He has kidney problems and needs a transplant. The young master is so kind, he'll surely forgive her. But young master, Ethan isn't well. Let him stand up." Reginald frowned, waiting for my command. "What was stolen?" My voice was ice cold. The room fell silent instantly. Reginald presented a watch, a birthday gift from my father. In my past life, seeing the watch returned, I hadn't pursued the matter. Reginald had warned that such leniency would make it hard to manage the staff, but Sylvia insisted the young master should be kind. My fiancée, Victoria Brooke, had also rushed over, holding my hand, praising my generosity and gentleness. What was I like back then? Grinning like an idiot. Now I just want to go back and slap my past self hard. But since I've been reborn, that slap isn't meant for me anymore. I spoke coldly, and the Graf Diamond's hallucination my father bought at auction. $130 million. You certainly have expensive taste. Gasps erupted around the room. What? How many million? Did I hear right? The maids whispered, covering their mouths. 130 million, how could Martha dare? God, even if it was for Ethan's kidney transplant, stealing something so valuable, nothing belonging to the young master is cheap. Martha shot me a guilty glance, then burst into dramatic wails. "Young master, I honestly didn't know it was so expensive for the sake of my decade of service here. Please forgive me, I'll never do it again. You grew up with Ethan after all. You wouldn't want to see him die, would you?" I watched Martha's disgusting display with revulsion. Beside her, Ethan's pale face looked utterly shattered, designed to evoke pity. "Reginald, what else was stolen?" Nothing else. This was absolutely the first time," Martha blurted out. Reginald looked at me gravely, seemingly debating whether to continue. After all, in my past life, I favored the Gordons greatly, constantly fed lines by Sylvia and Victoria about how pitiful Ethan and his mother were, how I should help them more, It was accumulating good fortune for the Lancaster family. Reginald. Speak. Current surveillance footage shows Martha committed theft 13 times. Previously, it was mostly food items and silverware, but the bird's nest and top-grade fish maw were worth over $500,000 combined. Also, some of the young master's clothes and bags. I mentioned it before, but you said you didn't wear them anymore and didn't care if they were taken. The gasps grew louder. The maids couldn't believe they had a habitual thief among them, stealing so much from the family. I waved dismissively. Reginald's eyes flickered with disappointment, assuming I'd act as before. Hand her over to the police. Give them all the evidence. My words struck like thunder in the quiet room. Martha and Ethan forgot to cry. Reginald looked at me, galvanized, as if a light had reignited in his eyes. Reginald was trained by my father personally. He possessed the same shrewdness and ruthlessness. I, however, had been far too lenient. Martha was stunned speechless, then launched into a performance of shouting, begging, kowtowing, and shameless pleading. Young master, please let me go. I did it for our family. I'm begging you, begging you. Her head thumped dully against the Spanish rug. Ethan also pleaded, Brother Lou, please let my mother go. Sinai wasn't aware my mother ever bore me a brother. Who are you calling brother? Are you worthy? Dean, drag her away. Her noise is giving me a headache. The head of my security detail behind me, Dean, motioned his men forward. They dragged Martha away as she shrieked hysterically, her mouth quickly muffled by Dean. Ethan cried out, lunging for his mother, but Ford flung him back. Unfortunately, he didn't hit the ground. Sylvia rushed forward and caught him. Ethan readily collapsed into her arms. Third sister, help me beg brother. No, beg the young master. Sylvia held Ethan, her expression overflowing with pity. She turned to me, her tone reproachful. Young master, you're not like this. How can you be so heartless? Tell Reginald to release Aunt Martha. Watching the actions of the one who betrayed me in my past life, I felt no surprise. I folded my arms. Sylvia, have you forgotten whose dog you are? Sylvia stared at me, shocked, unable to believe I'd called her a dog. Sincere Lancaster, what did you say? How dare you? Said you're a dog. A dog. Have you forgotten your place? Who gave you permission to use my name? Sylvia looked at my icy expression, realizing I wasn't joking. Her gaze shifted from reproach to resentment, glaring fixedly at me. I remained unmoved. Reginald, I won't tolerate backstabbers in this house, nor do I like people gossiping behind my back. Anyone who does it again gets sent to the Zenith Club. The maids who had just been opportunistically chiming in fell silent. Only Sylvia glared venomously, accompanied by Ethan's weeping. Reginald, send Ethan Gordon to the Zenith Club. I don't like hearing constant crying in the house. He can leave when his debt is repaid. Years, young master. Reginald bowed respectfully and dispatched men to seize Ethan. Ethan was so frightened he forgot to cry, clinging desperately to Sylvia. And Sylvia truly played the knight protecting her prince, fighting against Reginald's men. I flicked a glance at my bodyguard detail behind me. They surged forward, pinning Sylvia down. Ethan was dragged away. Nolan angrily yelled at Sylvia. Third sister, have you forgotten your oath to the master? How could you defy the young master? Sylvia remained defiant. I had spoiled her. She'd forgotten the distinction between master and servant. In the vast, opulent mansion, I was the sole master. After the afternoon's drama, the household staff grew deferential, their eyes holding both respect and fear. Just as I was savoring the Brittany blue lobster and bluefin tuna Reginald had specially instructed the kitchen to prepare, a cool voice interjected, Sincere Lancaster. Were you causing trouble again today? The newcomer possessed a graceful figure in perfect proportions, moving with an elegant aristocratic air. It was my fiancée, Victoria Brooke. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Took you long enough to show up for your little lover. Seeing my silence, Victoria sat beside me. After taking the towel offered by a maid to clean her hands, she began quietly peeling shrimp for me. Her slender, pale fingers adorned with red nail polish were quite beautiful. I used to think she embodied my ideal aesthetic. I was willing to lavish affection on her, gradually losing myself, catering to her, pleasing her, as pathetic as a sycophant. Thinking back now, I was truly foolish. When she offered the peeled shrimp, she was met with my cold gaze. Her hand froze mid-air, seemingly stung by my look. What's wrong? Still upset? Haven't you come to plead for Ethan? Victoria placed the shrimp on my plate, every gesture gentle. But who remembered she was once just an unloved illegitimate daughter, barred from the family business, destined only for an arranged marriage? If my Lancaster family hadn't taken an interest in her, how would she have ever risen? How could she afford to act like a queen? Ethan grew up with you. Why the sudden distance? Besides, he's unwell. Aunt Martha acted out of concern for his health. Where possible, one should forgive and forget. Tetero? And how should I forgive them? I widened my eyes, smiling at her, perfectly mimicking my old fawning manner. Victoria, completely oblivious, continued, "Just drop the charges against Aunt Martha. If you care so much about the stolen items, I'll cover the cost. Ethan isn't well. I know you were just angry. You wouldn't really send him to the Zenith Club. That kind of private club is shady. How could Ethan possibly survive there?" I watched her with a derisive smirk. "Have I not spent enough time with you lately, putting you in a bad mood? You need to behave better too. Stop throwing tantrums. You should be kind and magnanimous. That's how I like you. Understand?" Her condescending tone made even Reginald and Dean, standing nearby, frown. But they dared not speak, knowing how infatuated I was with Victoria, how I granted her every wish unconditionally. Ha ha ha! My laughter echoed through the immense, luxurious dining hall. Victoria looked at me, bewildered. I laughed until tears nearly streamed down my face. "Victoria Brooke, who gave you the audacity to lecture me? Understand? Do you think you're my mother? Even my mother doesn't dare order me around. Who the hell do you think you are?" Victoria hadn't expected me to speak like this. Her expression shifted. I looked at her, reached out, and patted her cheek repeatedly, an utterly demeaning gesture. "Oh, you should be a good little dog. Keep me happy. And maybe I'll throw you a few bones. But you actually expect me to listen to you? Told me to become gentle and magnanimous because that's how you like me? Seriously, that's hilarious. Is your affection worth so much? My father is Magnus Lancaster. Have you forgotten?" Victoria's face completely darkened. Her captivating features showed a rare flicker of panic. Yes, she had forgotten. My affection had made her forget just how decisive, ruthless, and formidable my father was. She'd forgotten that I, the sole heir to the Lancasters, was destined to inherit the entire vast family empire. I wiped my hands clean and stood up to leave. Victoria quickly stepped forward, grabbing my arm. "Sincere, how could you?" Her long-held arrogance had made her forget how to flatter me as she once did. She didn't know how to continue. Smack! A sharp slap echoed. Victoria's head snapped to the side. She clutched her face, staring at me in disbelief. "Ed, get out. The Lancaster family will inform Mr. Brooke about canceling the engagement." Victoria panicked. "Sincere, I was wrong. Don't be angry." She gripped my arm forcefully. "Undine, pon young master." The captain stepped forward from the line of bodyguards behind me. On her nails hurt me. "Dislocate her arms," I said casually, as if discussing trivial matter. "Yes, young master." Dean and Seth moved forward with lightning speed, dislocating both of Victoria's arms, leaving them hanging limply at her sides. The intense pain forced a cry from Victoria. The loss of strength made her collapse to her knees. "Why, Sincere? You weren't like this. What did I do wrong? Was it just for pleading for Ethan?" Tears streamed down Victoria's face. I crouched down, observing her wretched state with a surge of vengeful satisfaction. Not enough. Still not enough. I should kill her right now. But no, too many complications. Weren't you calling me Sincere Lancaster just now? Calling him Ethan. Why the switch back to Sincere? You're quite the actress, Victoria Brooke. You displeased me. So I don't want you anymore. Victoria looked at me in terror, seemingly unable to believe my words. Impossible, impossible, I know how much you love me. He ha ha. I almost choked on my laughter. Yes, I loved her dearly, loved her enough to lead myself to utter ruin. Now, I just wanted to kill her, throw her out. Henceforth, neither Victoria Brooke nor dogs are permitted entry into the Lancaster estate. Yes, young master, Reginald replied quickly, perhaps fearing I'd change my mind. This was the ruthlessness befitting the head of the Lancaster family. Sylvia didn't appear all night. I knew where she'd gone, but didn't send anyone after her. The next day I went out with my bodyguards. I have 10 core subordinates, 10 orphans raised by the Lancaster family since childhood. Giving them the family name signifies immense trust. They were loyal followers meticulously cultivated by my father for me, utterly devoted. I just never expected Sylvia would betray me for Ethan Gordon. Arriving at the Zenith Club, several young masters and ladies were already waiting for me. Manager Sheldon and his staff swarmed out, escorting me into the most exclusive club under the Lancaster Corporation's banner. Many friends had heard about yesterday's events and excitedly wanted to join me. Naturally, I agreed. In my past life, I revolved solely around Victoria, allowing her to shine brilliantly in high society. Many flattered her out of respect for the Lancaster name. Yet, she often avoided bringing me to events, claiming she didn't want to seem like she was clinging to me, all while leveraging my family's name to become the center of attention. Now these people gathered around me again. My gaze was cold and regal, back to being the true Lancaster heir. Manager Sheldon, where's the person sent here yesterday? Why isn't he entertaining guests? The manager stammered, unable to answer clearly. I strode deeper into the club with my large entourage. The manager deliberately led me towards an exquisite room. I waved my hand, silencing the surroundings. From the slightly ajar room, intermittent voices could be heard. Third sister, thank you for coming. What would I do without you? A man's weak, sobbing voice drifted out. Sylvia was gently holding Ethan. I'll never let anyone bully you. Sincere Lancaster went too far this time. When I get back, I'll definitely teach him a lesson for you. At my signal, Dean kicked the door open. Who are you planning to teach a lesson? The people inside jumped. The embracing pair quickly separated. Ethan glared venomously at me from behind Sylvia. Seeing me speak, the onlookers began chattering. Oh my God, did I hear that right? A bodyguard wants to teach her own young master a lesson? For a servant's son? Yes, you heard right, and these two dogs were having a secret rendezvous here. But young Master Lancaster really doesn't know how to train his staff. Even the dogs he raises dare to shit on their master's head. If you ask me, this Ethan Gordon is quite something, seducing a bodyguard into turning against her master. My bodyguards behind me were furious, clenching their fists. Dean looked utterly disappointed. Third sister, you've gone too far. The young master treated you the best. How could you be such a backstabber? Apologize to the young master immediately. Seth was also incensed. Third sister, have you no shame? Who do you think you are to touch the young master? Just because he's been good to you, you take advantage? Don't forget, the master saved your life. Is this how you repay his kindness? Being condemned by everyone infuriated Sylvia further. In a fit of rage, she retorted, Sincere Lancaster, what did Ethan ever do to you for you to treat him like this? Isn't it just because Victoria Brooke likes Ethan and you're jealous? Have you ever stopped to think why we treat Ethan well? So, and what should I reflect on? In my past life, I wondered why the sister-like bodyguard I valued most and the woman I loved most both sided against me. Reflect on why you're not kind, why you're so cruel, why you can't learn respect." Sylvia spat out the words through gritted teeth, while the crowd watched her like a joke. I really had too much time on my hands, seeking such useless answers. Some people simply aren't worthy of kindness. They see it as charity. Only when someone like Ethan, a dog like themselves, treats them well, do they feel it's genuine. She forgot how I secretly gave her candy when we were kids, how I always treated her differently because of her bright eyes. Trailing after her, calling her sister, treated her better than anyone else, shielded her from dangerous assignments, arranged the best food and lodging wherever she went. Outsiders might have mistaken her for some young lady. And what did Sylvia say back then? That she would protect me with her life, never betraying my father's trust. But the person I cared so much about was now pointing fingers, calling me cruel, inferior to Ethan. Why should I be like Ethan? My status, my capabilities are exceptional even in high society. I have every right to be willful. Enough. Some people don't deserve my attention. Manager Sheldon, take Ethan away and discipline him properly. Yes, young master. A group dragged Ethan away. I looked at the restrained Sylvia, my gaze icy. Dean. Yes, young master. Sylvia committed insubordination. Sever her tendons in her hands and feet, throw her out of the Lancaster family, remove her from the household registry. Permanently barred. Anyone who dares to help her will also be expelled from the Lancaster household. Dean was momentarily stunned, not expecting such mercilessness. Sylvia was a woman after all. Sylvia was also shocked, speechless by my words, her mouth agape. The bodyguard team hesitated. So, have you all started disobeying my orders now? Only then did they move. Several subordinates dragged Sylvia away. Heart-wrenching screams echoed from the next room. Sylvia was crippled. The young masters and ladies were also stunned by my ruthless methods. Recovering, they began to cluster around me, flattering and praising me. I savored this moment. I was the one in control. After being dragged away, Ethan was slapped repeatedly by Sister Yang, his face swelling up. The club patrons, knowing he was someone the boss disliked, all took turns beating him. Within 2 days, Ethan was barely breathing. Reginald reported that the Lancaster family applied pressure for a swift trial. Martha Gordon was sentenced to 15 years. I listened, eyes narrowed, as my subordinates reported. My father called from the U.S. Someone always kept him informed of my actions. He was very pleased with what I'd done. He didn't object when I mentioned canceling the engagement with the Brooke family, merely saying he'd call Mr. Brooke himself. I needn't be involved. He also said he'd select a suitable marriage partner for me. This time, I would completely follow my father's arrangements. I felt I really couldn't trust my own judgment. My taste was too poor. Dean reported that Ethan Gordon had been picked up by someone. Was it Victoria Brooke? Yes. Seems like some people couldn't wait any longer. I've had bodyguards since I was young. None of my father's enemies had ever targeted me. For old Master Forrest's birthday celebration this time, my father asked me to attend as a gesture of goodwill. The Forrest family couldn't compare to the Lancasters, but was a renowned literary family. I presented a Tang Dynasty calligraphy scroll, which old Master Forrest treasured, wanting to practically worship it. Today, I only brought Dean and Seth inside. The venue wasn't large, just the old Forrest family estate. Lancaster bodyguards are not only exceptionally skilled but also have access to a dedicated dark web network. A specific notification tone sounded. I picked up my phone, glanced at the message, and my blood instantly ran cold. Mr. Lancaster's plane encountered trouble. Plane destroyed, all presumed dead. Chapter 2. Revenge. I nearly collapsed, trembling uncontrollably. In my past life, my father was also at the wedding venue when I died. Victoria had given Ethan my suit and a mask, telling everyone I had a severe allergy and couldn't show my face. Ethan and I were the same height, though he was thinner. With some concealment, most people wouldn't notice the switch. Before I lost consciousness then, I saw Ethan take Victoria's hand and gently kiss it. Dean steadied me. I whispered the news. Dean's face changed instantly, and he hustled me out. In the car, I frantically tried contacting my trusted people in the U.S. No one answered. Just as I was anxiously wondering what to do, several cars appeared, driving wildly towards us. Even with our skilled driver, we couldn't escape being surrounded. A deafening crash. I blacked out. When I woke again, immense pain racked my body. To my horror, I couldn't feel my hands or feet. Inside a dilapidated building, a figure sat quietly, watching me. Sylvia. She walked over to me. "It really was you, my young master." Her voice was hoarse, making her look even more somber. Her movement showed her own limbs hadn't fully healed. "Young master, you are truly cruel. I was so good to you, yet you crippled me just like that. So you're taking revenge? Is my father really all right? And of course the master is fine." My heart instantly settled back into my chest. Thank God. So you faked the dark web message to lure me out? Was it worth it? For a man? And I don't know. But I never thought the young master could be so ruthless. Do you know why? I stared hard at her. Sylvia looked at me defeatedly, her eyes holding an emotion I couldn't decipher. "Oh, because I have died once already." Sylvia snapped her head up, staring at me. "Do you know how I died? My arms and legs were broken, and I was thrown into a valley. And then, guess what? Wolves came, drawn by the scent. A whole pack of them. They tore open my stomach, dragged out my intestines, and devoured them. They ate my eyes. Every single wolf ripped at me with its sharp teeth. What do you think that felt like, watching yourself being eaten alive by wolves?" I glared viciously at Sylvia as I spoke. My words terrified her. She looked at me in disbelief. She crouched down, clutching her head, trembling uncontrollably. I didn't know if she was genuinely scared or putting on an act. I didn't care anymore. "So, I did that?" Lying there, I answered flatly, "Yes, you and Victoria Brooke, at my wedding. You brutally broke my limbs just to hand everything to Ethan Gordon on a silver platter, letting him marry Victoria and live a life of luxury." Sylvia knelt on the ground, forehead pressed to the floor, her body trembling, voice choked with sobs. "So that's why you hated me, why you crippled me. I wish I could kill you," I replied calmly. Sylvia said no more. I drifted into unconsciousness amidst the pain. When I woke again, Sylvia was gone. I tried to move, still unable. I saw no wounds on my limbs. It didn't seem like they were broken. Sylvia returned that night. She put me in a wheelchair and took me somewhere else. This was Victoria Brooke's house. She dumped me in a lavishly decorated room and then escaped through the window. Not long after, the door opened. It was Ethan. Gone was his previous affectation of weakness. He looked down at me arrogantly. Well, look who it is, the great young Master Lancaster, so. You have days like this too." I watched his gloating face without a word. "Victoria Brooke is marrying me, didn't you know? She loves me too much. She does whatever I say." "And Sylvia Lancaster? She hurt you for my sake too. How does it feel to be disabled?" Ethan stepped forward and slapped me across the face. A flicker of excitement crossed his eyes, relishing the moment. He slapped me hard again. My head snapped to the side from the force. Ethan looked down at me condescendingly. "It's all your fault my mom got sentenced, but don't celebrate yet. Your good days are over too. Victoria has already contacted the Moffat family overseas to jointly attack Lancaster Industries. Old man Lancaster is probably at the end of his rope by now." My expression didn't change. I stared at him and voiced my doubt. "Ethan, the Lancaster family never mistreated you. We even let you attend the elite school with me. Why do you hate me?" "Because I'm jealous. Why were you born into such a prominent family while I'm just a servant's son? Why did you have endless money from birth while I had to grovel and please you? And your bodyguards, I tried to win over every single one. Only that stupid woman Sylvia fell for it. If I'd hooked a few more, you probably would have died faster. So, you never genuinely cared about Sylvia? Ha 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 ha. Her? Is she worthy? I can only marry heiresses like Victoria Brooke, or ladies from even more powerful families. Sylvia was just one of my dogs. Just like you treated her like a dog too. Sin didn't. Dean, Sylvia. They are my family. They share my last name. Ha ha ha. Family? So what? Didn't she still betray you for me? All I had to do was be a little gentle, act pitiful, badmouth you a bit, shed a few tears, tend to her wounds when she came back injured from missions. Shed a few more tears and she was wrapped around my finger. She even supported me when I said I liked Victoria. Isn't she incredibly stupid? Yes. Sylvia was indeed incredibly stupid. Your good days are over, sincere Lancaster. Are they? I smiled at him. What a pity. Victoria Brooke is probably already dead by now. What? Just as Ethan turned to question me, the sound of shattering glass and a massive explosion erupted. The luxurious room instantly became a chaotic mess. Armed figures stormed in through the windows and door. Ethan screamed in terror but was quickly subdued. Dean removed his mask and respectfully helped me up. Beside me, Seth quickly placed a pill in my mouth. Within a minute, feeling returned to my numb limbs. Ethan stared in disbelief. Did you think I was an idiot, Ethan? Did you overestimate yourselves or underestimate me? Ethan couldn't stop trembling. I am Sincere Lancaster. My father, Magnus Lancaster, is a renowned businessman, a figure feared in both legitimate and underworld circles, head of a top conglomerate in the country. What delusion made you think I was some lovesick fool? Sylvia? Victoria Brooke? Are they worthy? They mean nothing to me. Seth tossed in a black bag. A round object rolled out, stopping at Ethan's feet. Ethan's eyes met the object's. A blood-curdling scream, like a pig being slaughtered, filled the villa. Victoria Brooke's severed head stared blankly at Ethan. The stench of urine filled the air. Ethan had wet himself in terror and fainted. Hand Ethan over to Little Nine. Dean bowed slightly in acknowledgement. I was helped back to a private hospital for a full examination. Fortunately, this time they hadn't broken my limbs, just drugged me. Dean handed me the phone. It's the master. Son, are you hurt? Oh no, Dad, I answered obediently. Good. The Brooke family called, begging me to spare them. Ridiculous. Letting a mere illegitimate daughter conspire with a minor branch of some foreign mafia to try and assassinate me? Utterly laughable. Listening to my old man's arrogant tone, I couldn't help but chuckle. Then Dad's the best. My son is the impressive one giving me advance warning. Otherwise, that Wendy Miller by my side might really have been bribed. People never satisfied. Heard Sylvia betrayed you too? Have they caught her? Not yet, but no excessive leniency. Yes, Father. After hanging up, I rested in the hospital bed. When I woke again, Nolan brought in Ethan, tortured beyond recognition, and Sylvia, whose limbs were broken. Please, kill me. I couldn't recognize Ethan's face anymore. Nolan certainly had a knack for torture. He had no hair, his head was swollen, his hands were severed cleanly at the wrists, and his feet were cut off. He looked like a broken doll. Sylvia, however, watched me expressionlessly. Seeing Sylvia, Ethan struggled violently. Third sister asked, the young master, to save me. Sylvia remained unmoved, her gaze fixed on me. Young master, did it hurt? Sylvia's eyes were bloodshot as she asked, trembling. I looked at her contemptuously. Which time are you referring to? Sylvia choked, unable to speak, trembling as she knelt and crawled towards me. I had a dream. It was exactly what you described. I couldn't believe I would hurt you. I didn't believe it, so when Victoria and Ethan told me to break your arms and legs, I chose to drug you instead. I just wanted to teach you a lesson, but in that dilapidated room. When you told me everything from the dream, I believed it. It really happened. How could I have done that? How could I have hurt you? I practically raised you." Sobs filled the air as Sylvia covered her face, weeping uncontrollably. I hadn't expected Sylvia to remember the past life, but this was better. I wanted her to die filled with remorse. "Do you regret it?" I looked at the tear-streaked, trembling, broken Sylvia. "I regret it. The day I took you, I regretted it then." I didn't leave. I stayed outside the window and heard what Ethan said. I was about to go in and save you, but then I saw Dean and the others arrive, so I fled. I couldn't face you. I was wrong. How could I defy the young master for such a bastard? I can't forgive myself. If you can't forgive yourself, then just die. My cold words struck Sylvia's heart like a heavy hammer. And Sylvia, in the past life, I truly treated you like a sister. What on earth did I do that disgusted you so much you'd brutally attack me? No, Victoria and I just wanted you out of the way. We didn't want you dead. It was Victoria who struck the blows. I took you to the valley thinking your constitution was weak. You wouldn't be able to climb out or find help. Once the wedding was over, I planned to rescue you, take you away, as long as you didn't interfere with Ethan. I never wanted you to die when I went back. I couldn't find you. Only bloodstains. So much blood. So much blood. And then, Dean and the others noticed something was wrong the next day. The master took the Lancaster bodyguards to the villa where your wedding night was supposed to be, but Victoria had already taken Ethan abroad, claiming you were on your honeymoon. The master immediately tracked them down by private jet. When they caught Victoria, she was with Ethan. Under questioning, they admitted they didn't know where you were. The master was furious. He shot Victoria dead on the spot and threw Ethan into the Golden Triangle. When they captured me, I confessed about the valley. Before suffering a heart attack, the master ordered Dean and the others to throw me into the lion and tiger enclosure. "So you all died, ha 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 ha." My laughter turned into tears. How could they think they could evade my father? How could I have tolerated such clowns dancing around me back then? I should have just killed Ethan directly. "Sincere, I'm sorry." Sylvia called me by my childhood nickname, just like she used to. Then she bit her tongue and died. I watched everything unfold without a shred of emotion. Ethan had long since soiled himself again. Nolan dragged him away. Why would I let him die so easily? What remained for him was endless regret. Regret for ever being jealous of someone he could never hope to compare to.